Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another JP's Chalk Talk session, where we talk about connecting, streaming, and delivering as relates to live streaming, webcast productions, online video, and conversing with those that are experts, creators in the area of live streaming, and experts that are from different parts of the industry, as well as companies and technologies that we can incorporate as part of the overall workflow to deliver a live stream. And so if you're returning to this channel, I want to thank you for returning. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you're not currently a subscriber, I'd be so grateful to have you as a subscriber. That would be awesome. And to be able to have you on board, ring that bell to get notified when a video is posted, so you get notified when I upload a video. And we try to post these sessions fairly regularly, so at least once or twice, maybe more a week, you'll see a video that is posted. As well as if you're looking for the channel, I'd be grateful to have you share the channel. JP's Chalk Talks is the channel name. And the goal of this channel is obviously to have these conversations, talk about learning together and growing in regards to that space. So today we have a special guest. I always say they're special, but they are special. Jason Liquori from C-Mount Rentals, who is president at the company as well as of innovations. We're going to talk about how Jason's technology, these mobile kits he's developed, were utilized during the Emmys in 2020. Now, at the start of the pandemic, we had a situation occur where we needed to pull people in remotely. How would that work? How would we be able to get them into a live stream production, right? And there are a variety of different ways that people went about that. So Jason and his team pulled together, used their expertise in the industry that they're in and the services they have been providing for a number of years now, and pulled together and created a mobile kit. And Jason's going to talk about that, what they did at the Emmys, how that was utilized, where they're at and where they're going. And then we're going to talk about how this technology kind of evolves, right? How do we look at where we're going in 2021 as relates to a hybrid type model? And maybe it's a remote production team that's managing this and you have these kits. So we're going to jump into this. So let's talk to Jason right now. Hey, Jason, how are you?
Hey, JP, how you doing?
I'm
Thanks
doing
for having
well.
me.
Hey, thanks. It's my pleasure to have you on and talk about what you've developed and kind of where we do. Before we jump into that, maybe just take a moment to have you maybe just give a quick background on yourself and who is C-Mount and what do they do?
Sure. My name is Jason Liquori. I am the president and head of innovation at C-Mount Rentals and in Glendale, California. And we're a small boutique specialty shop that does bespoke video and audio installations for all sorts of broadcasts and brands and film companies across Los Angeles and across the country. And I've been working in video production for the better part of 20 years. And, and every time something unusual or unique comes up, we're usually right there trying to figure out a weird way to do something. So unfortunately, during this situation, it happened to be just trying to get production folks back up and running with some unique engineering solutions with these at-home kits. So,
absolutely. So as you and that kind of takes a segues into the conversation about with the pandemic in 2020, with productions and a significant number of changes that had to occur, especially in your space and what you support for your customers. Maybe just take a moment to talk about, one of the one of the first times it came up was about the Emmys and how to approach bring people in remotely.
Sure. Yeah, that's exactly right. So 2020, what a year. But right at the beginning of that pandemic, we were immediately able to pivot based on sort of the tech that we were already running and the types of cameras we had. So to backtrack it, before the Emmys, we had started helping out some long-term clients that run talk shows like the James Corden Show and Jimmy Fallon. I'm sorry, Jimmy Kimmel. Too many Jimmys and Jameses.
A lot of Jimmys and James.
Yeah. So those clients had started reaching out to us. Hey, we're going to be at home. What can we do to make our video conferences look a little better? So we started there. And then just started really pivoting with the skeleton crew during the pandemic to build these out and start perfecting them and improving them with each shoot. From there, the Emmys reached out by a production company that we had worked with a very long time, Dun and Dusted. She does many great live events and very innovative production company. So they reached out and said, "Hey, do you think we could do something with us?" And we said, "Sure, let's see what it is." But again, the show, everything was in flux, so everyone wasn't sure how long the lockdown was going to last. So really, in the better part of 3.5 weeks, we really put together about 20 or 30 of these kits that could be rolled in the door to these nominees. So because we weren't sure it was actually going to happen, but when it did, it was sort of fast and furious. So that's kind of really, it was baptism by fire to really bring it up a notch. And for that, we had to make a little bit of more advanced kit that we could completely control remotely and color and adjust audio. So for that, we ended up using our Blackmagic Pocket 6Ks and A10 Minis and building out a totally custom situation to send to all those nominees across Los Angeles.
For those that are watching, I saw a previous interview that Jason provided with somebody else talking about this, and that's kind of what I reached out to Jason and we started talking, and because it was a very innovative approach. You're absolutely right. The conversations we've had in the streaming or video type online community is that there were a lot of technologies that were existing. In this case, we just kind of took existing technologies and we kind of, in your case, put together a kit. In fact, Jason's on one of the kits right now when we're doing this interview, and you can see the quality level looks fantastic. And he's able to do this and remotely manage this, which provides a lot of value, in a sense, reduce the complexity for the talent and those that you're working with, as you talked about, because, at the end of the day, not everybody has the technology knowledge that you or I may have. And so that's kind of what we bring. It's like, okay, let's try to address this pain point and let's see if we can make this easier for everybody involved.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, because when the pandemic first started, again, we started to get back up and running, and at first it was like, okay, you have these A-list celebrities with their phone or or they were getting a Logitech or something like that on, and then they got a ring light, and all right, we've got the head in the box and a light, but now let's take it up a notch. Let's get more cinematic. Let's get some depth of field. But also let's try to help the talent not have to think about anything and not be plugging in cameras and dealing with tripods. So that's what we were tasked with from our clients. It was like, how can we make this look better, but without really bothering the talent too much? And we came up with several solutions, big, small, and otherwise, where we could just roll in a rolling tripod or a rolling camera stand with a monitor for a return feed, with an IFB if need be, as well as a really high-end camera that can be converted into a laptop. And we provided laptops because we could therefore control them without having to ask for any security or private information from the client. And then that way, our remote technicians from anywhere in the world at any time could tap in, set them up on their video conference software, their Zoom link, what have you, and then make sure they chose all the correct settings. More than half the time we're doing these productions, you spend 20 minutes going, okay, now you see the little dot in the corner, hit that and pin this.
Yes.
This way, you know what? You say, hey, at 2 o'clock, be in front of this camera.
Exactly.
I'm going to turn it on. Just all you have to do is plug it in, okay? And then turn the computer on. And then we can reach out, we can adjust your light level, we can adjust all the camera settings, your audio, whether they're doing environmental sort of directional shotgun mic or a lavalier, both can work. So yeah, it really was a great way to get back to tech guys doing what tech guys do and talent doing what talent does. They sit there and deliver their lines and get comfortable in front of the camera while we handle everything else for them. So that was really the main goal.
Yeah, and I think that you're right, and that's kind of where we're looking at now. So if we, and we've talked about this a little bit. There was kind of that initial, the way I explain to everybody really simply is the hair on fire moment when the pandemic kind of occurred, and some of the changes that had to happen in terms of productions and things that we were talking about. As we kind of we've gotten through 2020, and we are now entering in 2021. The new norm is really kind of set in. As we kind of look ahead, kind of and you guys have been doing this now for a while and kind of integrating this as part of your overall offering for the company and the rentals and productions that you support. Where do you see, we've talked about this, the next kind of maybe next stage, if you will, of continuing this effort. I don't think it's really going away. It's a hybrid model in terms of what might be on a physical site and a remote site. Do you have any thoughts around that in terms of your perspective?
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. I believe that this tech or these sorts of deployments are not going away. Whether things go back to normal tomorrow or not, I think manufacturers and end users and production companies have made giant leaps as far as the technology and applying this technology. Like you said, it's been out there. Streaming technology's been out there, encoding technologies, and the way to do all this stuff's been out there, but really thrust to the forefront of where it's no longer just a specialty user has to have the knowledge on that. I think everybody really needs to get up on it, and they have been very quickly. And I think that sets are still going to be with limited personnel. So I think extraneous folks who don't need to be there are still going to be doing remote villages and viewing and being able to give comments and commentary in real time on what's happening on their sets. I think that even if, like you said, we have several options that are like a hybrid approach where it's maybe someone's controlling or viewing remotely, but then there's someone on set, but they're still 500 feet away controlling a camera or being able to make a lighting adjustment and all those sorts of great things that have been around but are really getting huge advancements and improvements to really deal with what's going on. And I think that's here to stay. And I think it's a change. It's uncomfortable for some people, but I think it should be a really exciting time for our industry where all of these creative and technical people, it's a convergence of the minds and how to do these things and how to achieve great high production value with limited tools, or just really reevaluating the technology we already have and reapplying it somewhere else. So I think it's an exciting time to learn new skills and to take your skills that you've had for the last 20 years and then apply them in a whole new way. So, it's really not replacing people, it's just repurposing them. And I think it should be an exciting time for people to try to learn those new skills. And I think you'd be surprised at how quickly you can learn them and still be considered a very valuable, skilled position on set.
Absolutely. And I think, you're right, and to a certain extent, that's really kind of going into, we're talking about, there's the mobile interface in terms of what we're talking about with the kits and everything. But there's kind of this remote production team, right? We might use a term in the industry on my side of Emmy, right? But in a sense, what we're really talking about is reallocating those resources that typically would have been utilized on site or in different facets of the setup. So I think that's fantastic, and I agree with you. I think and there's opportunities for people to learn and grow into those roles. You may adapt and change, but there's plenty of opportunity. And so, as we kind of look at 2021, we've talked about some of the challenges. And I think one of the challenges as an industry, we've talked about networking and different areas of the way we, transport the connections. You and I've talked about technologies like SRT, Safe Reliable Transport Protocol, NDI, other things that we have to kind of manage from a public internet. Do you kind of see that as another area of we're all kind of working towards the same goal here, and that is to provide the right level of stability and quality of the experience to support?
Yeah, I that's another great point. I think that I'm not here to tell people I'm the expert and this is 100% what works. There's so many ways to skin this cat, and I think what we're really seeing now is that we've got the ideas to bring a great looking camera into a video conference, but if your platform's not working great or your internet or your network isn't wonderful, you're still not going to have a very great experience production value-wise. So I think, like you mentioned, like SRT and NDI and all these sort of more reliable transports for your video signals is really where everything is heading, because it can be very frustrating for professionals and end users, because I, as a provider, will provide a very high-end camera and high-end solution that'll be completely engineered with all the bells and whistles. But if there's an outage in public internet, we can't really do anything about that.
Right.
If the budget can't afford for satellite internet or bringing in a very robust blended cellular solution,
right,
then you're stuck with someone's home internet. And if Spectrum has an outage unexpectedly, your production's going to suffer, and then your client's going to look at you and say, "Hey, what the heck?" And you go, "I can't control the internet." It's like showing up on set and it's pouring rain and it wasn't supposed to, but that's the location scout's fault, all of a sudden. So it's really sort of, I think the next step is you'll see a lot of companies or providers or end users trying to vertically integrate several of these different aspects. A great looking camera, a great computer, but a good platform also, and then some sort of networking system or transport protocol that is really going to make your feed more reliable than the old standards, and things like SRT have been around for a while, but people like me, I had no idea about it, but I'm researching and talking to guys like you and talking to people who've been streaming for years about, hey, I get the gist of it now. I've got this great camera, but how do I make it consistent? We need to standardize, really. There's no real standardization of these protocols like there would be in the broadcast industry, SMPTE or something like that. So I think that's the next big step, is sort of standardized protocols and languages, so these devices can all speak to each other and we can all work together more efficiently. So I think it's going to be a real collaborative effort in the industry and with the manufacturers, the end users, the production companies. So I think that's an exciting thing. That's going to be a continued effort moving forward.
To do that, absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. I think, and that's kind of the convergence, somewhat of a disruptor type element of this, is we're seeing this intersect between technology along with the traditional broadcasting and media that was already kind of going on in live streaming. It wasn't that it wasn't there, it didn't exist, but now we're seeing this further kind of convergence, if you will, of the blend of the technologies. And obviously we need to go back and look at how we can make that reliable, and also not just reliable, but just overall the process and the workflow that we have to manage from a production, whether that's live or we're capturing or whatever it may be. And that could be a variety of different functions, as you and I know, from corporate to the Hollywood to a church. So there's a lot of so that's the versatility. So I'm going to put some links here in the description back to Jason's to C-Mount rentals. And Jason and I have been talking about it. And one of the areas is we like to hear from you. If you're a creator, if you are a church, a corporation, whatever it may be, we would like to get your feedback of one to two items you've learned from this session, but also hear from you on how this could provide value to what you're doing. Jason's kind of built a very well positioned solution, and what we want to do is kind of think about how we take that and incorporate that into an overall production. And I think there's a lot of value to do or value to provide into those things for that. So Jason, kind of looking at kind of closing it out here a little bit, is the best way for people to get connected with C-Mount just to go to the website? What would be the proper way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. People can reach out to cmount.com or hello@cmount.com to just talk directly to our special ops team. If there's something you want to see that we've done before, or you have an idea of testing a different type of camera, or you have a unique solution that you need help with, we're always available to chat it out and or get on a Zoom or do a live demo with you with one of our kits. But you certainly don't have to rent our whole sort of all-in-one solution. We rent all these components separately. So if you just want an ATEM Mini Pro to stream with your cameras, no problem. If you need capture devices, we can give you all those individual pieces to bolt onto your existing kit to make it a better experience. Or we could just chew it out and figure out what you're trying to do and what the best solution is, and gear you in the right direction. So yeah, it's like I said, a very collaborative effort, and we're here to support all the content creators from large Hollywood productions to small worship services, whatever the need may be. We'd like to help everybody get back on track in this kind of challenging production time. But I think the creative solutions are there, and the creativity is certainly out there, and we love hearing the ideas come in from people and go, oh wow, we never even thought of trying that. Let's do that. So.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's the beauty of technology. We can do that and then test it and validate it. Okay, will this work? Is it consistent? And to your point, absolutely. Well, and Jason, thank you so much for all the work that your team and you guys have done. You may not have seen it then, and really understood, but it is providing a lot of value in terms of the innovation and collaboration efforts of opportunities we have to look at this. And I'm excited to actually work with a little bit with Jason and see how we can help. So if you do this, let's take Jason's up on his offer, right? If you have a need, let Jason know, or let me know, and I'll be happy to connect you with Jason. We'll go from there. Jason, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate just what you guys are doing, and I'm very excited to look forward on the next steps and phases of where we see things going. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's really great. And again, it's programs like this that I've been watching on YouTube or scouring the internet, just trying to find the information out there. And I've learned a whole lot from everybody, online, and just having conversations like you and I have been on the phone. So yep. I think collaboration is the most important part right now. And it's like, I'm not afraid that, I've been doing this for 20 years, but there's still so much I don't know, and I'm happy to ask the dumb questions and be asked the dumb questions, because it's just, it's sometimes it can seem very unusual, but it's really what we've all been doing is just reapplying it, like you said. And I think one of the great things for me that's come out of it is sort of re-examining the equipment that I already own and repurposing it for some really innovative ways, and then also being able to keep a lot of freelance folks out there employed, and just on the Emmys alone, I think we probably employed 25, 30 people for that week, and it was such a vast range of engineers and DITs and camera assistants and camera operators helping us all set up that whole entire system and make it work. And so I think that's really the exciting part about it, is that it's really something that's going to be around for a while, and a skill that people can apply their existing skills to, and keep themselves employed, and even when things are on lockdown. So I think that's a really important thing for us, to keep our industry healthy and across all sort of respects of it, aspects of it. So that's been a great part of it.
Absolutely, and that's a fantastic, and that actually is, Jason, you're absolutely right. If just in closing here, that's important. At the end of the day, this pandemic and the impact of it all is not, we've seen the impact from a health perspective, but there is an industry impact in a lot of people in terms of their jobs and their ability to provide for their families, for themselves, and those around them. And so if we can provide a way to give them an opportunity to work together, absolutely, let's do it. If technology can be a way, as a tool to help us get to the other side of it and help us provide new ways, maybe a little bit different, but that doesn't mean it's going to change significantly. It just gives us an opportunity to be able to keep ourselves moving along and where we need to get to. So absolutely. Well, everybody, thank you, Jason. I really appreciate your time again. And everybody, stay safe, stay well. We will talk to you in the next session. Take care.